Norman has been the proprietor of Cook's Butcher's shop for many years. Sadly, after serving the people of Prescott and beyond for so long, we meet him in his last week of trading.
These days, they say everybody wants supermarkets, but if you put double yellow lines right around us, around the supermarket, how many would go there? That's it.
I think they've got to buy land to use for car parks.
Oh yes, that's it. Tell you don't use your car, and then in the supermarket.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, it'll be a loss to the town, this establishment going through.
That's it.
Because I've known it all my life.
Yeah.
It all seemed to be a thriving business and all one very well.
It was up to just recently, and it's going down now, so that's the older people who die off now.
That's the trouble.
That's it.
The older people go on the establishment.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for helping me.
Cheapest haircut in the world. Not that I need a haircut myself.
Harry Doward is an archetypal barber. His traditional barber's shop is situated on Prescott's High Street.
Ice picked off and hold firmly in place. Carefully remove the stone something very short of what is left behind it. And then the small sewing to make a circle.
I can ask you this.
Take number 4 with bright green highlighting hyper rock stone on the face of the horse. And the mane.
Yes, please.
Harry, how long have you been cutting hair for?
40 on 40.
Creating
1950.
I remember when it was over the,
Yeah.
remember when it was over the other side of the road there. So how many years have you been over here now?
I've been back here 10 years, well, since the Alfred. Yeah. On this side all the time, like otherwise. And by the, what's his name? Travel agents. Travel agents.
But always made a big queue outside here for Monday morning.
Yeah.
Some of the old photographs around the walls are interesting.
Yeah.
The old entertainers. Some of these.
Yeah.
Dating back to the 50s, the old roots and that.
Good morning.
Stevie Faye's on here as well, isn't he?
Hello. Hi, I'm
So,
Debbie
yeah.
What's they're looking through, if you can look through that, the primary school work.
Jackie Hamilton, Stevie Faye, Mickey Finn. Well, how long's that been up there, Harry? How long's that been up there since?
Which one?
This Stevie Faye one.
Oh, he's just only up about 2 years. He did it the other week, a few years back.
This group here, you know, with the Teddy Boys.
Yeah.
Where's that from?
That's a weird club, that.
Many things compared to some of the things that it suggests 4-year-olds should be learning about. I just wondered what you thought.
And some of these bowling green ones we were looking at.
Yeah.
At the age of 4? Any younger age. She knew where she came from when she was 4.
Prescott, the district.
I used to say to her that she'd done a deal with God, that she was in my tummy.
That's the jazz band.
Only
Yes, there's jazz band here. Yeah.
Anything ever
So what year is that from?
1935, I think. Just as the war was, just before the war.
How terrible.
Any interesting characters being in here, besides Blakey? I don't think the A's used to come in here now.
What's the name comes in?
That's why before now, and they go up there.
He used to be a footballer. Sandy Lane comes in, and Jackie Ross.
There are terrible words are in this book.
Yeah.
Children must not read it, it's dangerous. Well, then everybody...
With B.I.C.C. being the largest employer in the town, and their business being cable making, Prescott Football Club really had to be known as the Cables. For this section we enlist the help of Bet Emblem, a member of a local writers group. Bet starts by interviewing Mr. Foster, who recalls his time as a bookbinder. After this she talks to Bert Taylor.
Well, it was in 1930 when I left school to start my apprenticeship in Tinlings as a bookbinder. Strange as it may seem, my grandfather Foster also served his time at where Tinlings was then at the old watch factory. He was a watchmaker, so two of us served our time in the same place. But I left Tinlings in 1937. There was a bit of a slump on, and I left and went working at another place. But I can well remember down the side of James's Lane was the bookbinding department. It's glass sides and mostly glass roof as well. We used to start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and very often had to work until 8 o'clock at night. And as you got older, you had to work till 9:30. The first day I went there, my job was to, they had glue pots on a big bench, and my job was to get the glue brush and glue the papers up. We stacked the papers up on the bench, and I was to glue them, and they were put at one side to dry, and then later on, when the glue had dried, they used to get a knife and slit them off for pads, made writing pads of them, you see. I went through most of the jobs. One particular job that I had to do, it was given to me by the boss. It was for binding the library of the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary was then being built, and I had to get the library ready for when she was built, you see. And I can well remember this. The books were all bound books, already bound, but they wanted a uniform binding.
Yes.
So that I set about this job, and the last day came when I had about another dozen books to do, and the boss said to me, "Bill, you'll have to work until you finish these books, because there'll be a car waiting outside to rush them down. She sails in the morning at 11 o'clock from Southampton on a maiden voyage." So this is what happened. I finished the last books about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and they rushed them outside, and they were on their way to Southampton before I got home. But I very often think about that, you know. No one else did anything to them. They were left completely to me to do. 2,000 volumes I did.
Wonder what happened to them?
I don't know.
No.
What happened to the Queen Mary?
No.
You see, I suppose they might have been sold off. I don't know.
Probably.
But,
how long have you been associated with the club, and how did it all begin?
Well, it began when I was very young, actually, when I was going to school. And I remember a very happy day when my four brothers, they subscribed £0.50 each, so they could buy me a season ticket. And they brought me down here, and they bought me a junior season ticket.
Lovely.
And I remember the treasurer until this day. It was a Mr. G who had a humpback, and I was really very proud when he handed me the season ticket for Prescott Cables AFC.
How old were you then?
I was round about, I should say, 12. And on and off, as children do, I watched the team, and my heroes of the time in the late 29, late 20s, were players like Horace Worley, names that were household names. Horace Worley, the goalkeeper, full-back Tommy O'Brien and Arthur Tarrant. Half-backs were Bamber, Bert and Kane, and the forwards were Keegan, Howard, Roscoe, Rogers and Armody. And that team finished runners-up 3 successive seasons from 1929.
And you watched them all?
And I watched them.
When did you start writing for the Prescott Reporter and getting your name Bond?
Well, I started with little scraps around just before the war. But I served in the forces for 6 years, and in 1946 I wrote to the editor, Mr. Gentry, suggesting that there should be a regular feature called Spotlight on Sport, and I took the name of Bond, which was Bert's own notes. And so I had a reply from Mr. Gentry when I was in Germany, and he said, "Will you please call and see me after you get the demobilisation?" So I went to see him, and his very words to me was, "Well, I like your idea, but I don't want it to be in one week and out the next. I want a regular feature."
Yes.
Which it was for, I think, 40 years.
Oh! When did you finish that?
Well, I haven't actually finished yet. I'm still doing a little bit.
I don't know anything about football, you've gathered that.
So we'll just cut that one out. So.
What do you think the future holds for the club now?
Well, all they seem to do is jump from one crisis to another. And
what a shame.
it's very, very hard going, because people are not watching football the same, particularly small clubs like Prescott. And no matter which ground we go to, I was at Nantwich last night, I was at Winterton in Lincolnshire on Saturday, and it's the same old story, just a few people running a club, about 4 or 5.
It's the same in every walk of life though, isn't it? It's just half a dozen
very
people.
Few watching the games.
Yeah. Never mind, he'll probably come back again.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a little surprise for you. Edgar has composed something especially for you, a tribute.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
B-E-R-T T-A-Y-L-O-R. This spells a name Preggy Town are so grateful for to have had. Bert Taylor, Bert Prescott Football Club Taylor. He started as Bond at the Reporter, that's true. His in-depth reporting brought sport into view. His skill with the pen you just cannot deny. Yes, Bert is one hell of a guy. He's seen many changes, there is no doubt. Not all for the better, I hear you all shout. But he stayed so loyal and true to the club, as those in the know knew he would. B-E-R-T T-A-Y-L-O-R. This spells a name Preggy Town are so grateful for to have had. Bert Taylor, Bert Prescott Football Club Taylor.
There you go.
Thank you very much, that was lovely. I'm sure you appreciated that.
It's nice, isn't it? Yes.
Yes. You actually born there?
The Royal Hotel, Prescott.
Oh, where is that? Or where was that?
It was demolished in around about 1929 to 30. And that was a large residential hotel. It had about 25 bedrooms.
Oh, gracious, that was big in those days, wasn't it?
During the war, it was used to billet the officers of the Royal Fusiliers, or the Lancashire Fusiliers. And the other ranks were billeted in the park. And there's a story here, and that's how we got the name of one of the news public houses in Prescott, the Fusiliers. Because the land where the old King Arms was bought by Boddington Breweries, and belonging to Boddington Breweries was a director. And when they were discussing the name for this hotel, one of the directors said, I remember my grandfather used to talk about the Royal Hotel in Prescott, where he was billeted as a Fusilier officer. Therefore, he said, there's always usually a reason for places being called,
yes.
And that's the reason why it's called the Fusilier.
That's at the end of the road where I live.
Is it? Yes, very good.
And how did your family get into the pub business?
Well, it goes back to the old books. My grandfather, Richard Taylor, and my father, Henry Fazzetley Taylor, were watchmakers. They made watch hands. And of course, with the recession, that gradually came, and watchmaking diminished. My father decided to go in for the public trade, and that's...
And could you tell us a little bit what it was like growing up when you were young, in your teens?
When I was growing up? Well, I remember walking around Eccleston Street and Campbell Street.
Oh, what were you doing, walking up there?
On the Sunday night, round and round. No, I never.
Did it really happen, that?
Yeah.
I believe it happened in St Helens round Shaw Street there.
Never
used to walk round and
Prescott.
I don't remember doing that in my youth.
Don't you?
No? and when the war broke out, did that make a great difference to you?
Well, I was
called up, were you?
Called up. I was rejected through bad eyesight. I was given a grading of B3. But after Dunkirk disaster, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. The announcement came on the radio on Sunday evening that anyone rejected through bad eyesight and graded B3 were liable to be called up.
Yeah.
But those who wished to volunteer would get a chance at a job. So I volunteered, and I was put in the ordnance as a stoneman, and I was a stoneman at the B.I.C.C.
That's right, that was just what I was going to ask you. You employed the B.I.
Yeah.
And did you start the Link newspaper there?
I didn't start it, no. I was employed on it, and I graduated to the assistant editor. It's a very nice job.
What do you think happened to the B.I.? It's a monumental firm, wasn't it?
Yes, but what's happened the same as it's technical, and it's
outgrown its use.
the old buildings were 100 years old. They had to be replaced.
Oh, I see.
And of course they built the CCR. It runs along parallel to the motorway.
What does the CCR mean?
Continuous copper rods.
Oh.
And that did the work. Well, 42 men could do the work of about 2,000 which were employed in the winery.
Yes. Yes.
So that was...
We want to hear about you being on watch in the church tower. Dirty deeds going on there.
Oh, that was the home guard.
Where's the church tower? You mean
The church at the Prescott Church Tower.
Yes, you
And
went up there.
That was an observation post.
Well, was it?
And
In the observatory?
Yeah. Oh no, this was just the home guard. And I joined the home guard before I was called up, you see. And I was so good at it that they asked me would I go full time. So I joined the army. That's a joke.
They call you Mr. Footballer, but that's not all you were involved in, is it, Bert?
Yeah.
Tell us what else, what other interests you have. Many, I should think.
Well, I've always been very interested in the town.
Are you in the Historic Society?
No, I used to be secretary of the
Oh.
Civic Society, which was a very active society.
Was that
At one
before the
time, but-
Historic Society, the Civic Society?
No, later.
Oh.
But we never got the support.
Oh.
But we had about 2 dozen in support, but
Oh.
it gradually faded.
I belong to the Historic Society,
Yeah.
and there's great support for that.
Yes, I know, and well, I was.
It's interesting. Well, have you anything else you'd like to tell us?
Not really, I don't think so. I thank Maybe for all he's doing. I think it's a very good idea.
It is, because it'll be forgotten otherwise, won't it?
That's right, yes.
Well, thank you very
So,
much.
yeah,
I'm very
thanks very
grateful
much
to you.
again.
Rimmer's Seitels have occupied the shop premises opposite St Mary's Church for many years. We meet the manager, Sid Robinson, as he prepares to relocate in Warrington Road.
How long?
Last few days.
Yeah. How long have you been here now?
About 20 years. We took over here from Bill Rimmer when he retired. Bill and Lena Rimmer was here for a long time. Don't know exactly how long, but
Probably from the turn of the century.
Well, the Rimmers have been here from the turn of the century.
Right.
Yes, and
has it always been a cycle shop?
they started off in leading, in window leading, for the old genuine sort of leaded windows, and then at some stage, early part of the century, I think the grandfather, or I think it was grandfather Rimmer, he started off in the bikes, bicycles, I think it was.
He must have saw the idea of the velocipede coming in and decided it was a good business.
That's right, yeah. So I think, well, they've been here for many generations now. I mean, we have a lot of grandparents coming in saying they bought bikes from this shop, and they're always pleased to come back with their grandchildren to buy the new bikes.
Yeah.
You know.
So they're maintaining a tradition.
Oh, it is indeed quite a tradition. Yes,
Right.
it must be. Well, it is the last bicycle shop now in Prescott. I believe there was 4 or 5 of them years ago. 4 or 5 bicycle shops in Prescott. Seems a lot, that really, for one town, but nevertheless there was.
But I suppose now you've cornered the market, really. You know,
Yeah,
in a way.
in Prescott, like we've continued to build the business, you know, to what it is today. Really,
Well, you're an institution in Prescott.
Yeah. Yes.
Now we're here at this time to record the fact that tomorrow you start another bicycle shop.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, we've had to move out of here. The lease is up, and nothing we can do about it. But we've got a new shop open on Warrington Road.
And hopefully you'll be there as long as Rimmers have been here.
Yes, they'll probably carry me out of there then.
Right.
Yes. So it won't be quite the same, you know. It's just a brand new shop again, like. This is it's got a lot of history about the place. This shop is built, or it was built on the site of an old inn, I believe. That's what I'm told. I haven't any evidence of that, but
there's no cellars. There's no beer cellars.
There used to be a cellar, but it's all been filled in about 15 years ago it was filled in because the floor was giving way, and we were afraid of losing the customers down the holes in the floorboards.
Right.
Because the timbers were so rotten with age. That's all filled in, but I believe it was owned by the church at one time, this property over here. It was owned by the church opposite to us, St Mary's, across the road there. And people have said in the past that there's passageways connecting this place and the church. The same as the Dean's House pub.
Right,
But,
like catacombs.
yes, that's right, catacombs, yeah, I think so, yeah. But I've never found any evidence of that. So when we had the cellar here, I mean, it was only a very small cellar, but I never found any evidence of passages in the wall, through the walls and that.
Tell me anything about the Prescott's contribution to the British Olympic cycle team.
Yes, as I said earlier about Terry Dolan, he did get the contract to build and design the colour scheme for the Olympic bikes. I believe very expensive. The cost of these bikes, I believe just one wheel alone costs £1,000. So it gives you an idea of what the total cost might be for one bicycle for the team. He's down in Prescott, and we can go and see Terry.
So that's what we're going to do now.
Yeah,
we're going to go and meet Terry.
Yeah, and see, get some information from him.
Well, we've come to the Cougar factory today, and the reason why we're here is we're investigating the Prescott's connection with the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. And we're now going to talk to Terry and Sid, who are going to find out for us.
Yeah. Oh. How long have you been here now, Terry?
In this particular unit, we've been here 12 months.
12 months. And you've been established in Prescott for a total of what?
3.5 years now.
3.5 years.
New St Helens prior to that.
I see. Were you building your own frames in St Helens?
Yeah, we've done our own frames now, and the professional teams are using them and putting their transfers on them.
Yeah.
That's how we got involved with the British Cycle Federation.
Yeah.
And the Irish Cycle Federation for the Barcelona Olympics.
I see. And did you supply all the bikes in the Olympics?
All the bikes for the British team pursuit squad, which is the four-man team. Chris Barber won the individual gold medal. He rode in that the day after, and they set the new British record as fast as ever gone. And then the Irish road racing team used our bikes in the team car for the road race.
Yeah. And did you do the design work on the colour scheme?
The colour scheme is designed by us, yeah, with both teams, Irish and all the way out.
The next question we'd like to ask Terry is, why did you come to Prescott?
Because it's very convenient from our point of view, so where all our complaint is done, that's far away in St Helens, and also it's accessible just up the motorway. Anyone can get here, it's right off the motorway. I mean, this girl's coming from Eastport. She's a world champion triathlete, short distance and long course. And she's just come up from Eastport to get measured up. You know, it's simply it's so easy to get here. So that's one of the main reasons. And also, we never had any trouble with break-ins or attempted break-ins.
Yes.
Even when we were off the road in the small place, we weren't alarmed, and so it's quite safe in that respect.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
In Prescott itself, 3.5 years.
What do you see for the future for your company?
Well, we'll take another 2 lads on in this year, training them up to do the job, because it's a bit slow. You can't just dash into it, so it will take a year. So if we get 2 lads, we're hoping to get two more lads in March or February, at the end of February. And they'll be on a training scheme under the Mathias Tech. And then we'll train up fully to be framed by the end of the year, hopefully. And then we just need to expand more. We're selling more. We have shops. We have a rep going around all the shops now, selling all over the country. I think we've got 100 shops taken out by it, so it's going quite well. So while we don't want to just dash out and try and take too many people on at once, because the product got to be right when it goes out. And that's why we're selling on quality, so it'll take a time, but it'll be be for a long time if we take the time enough.
Your success is good news for Prescott, and we wish you the best for the future.
Thanks very much.
And let's hope one day you're as big as the B.I.C.C.
Aye.
Lita Smith, a local lady, has seen many changes in Prescott and its surrounding areas. Let's join her at Maryville Road County Primary School as she recalls her childhood in the town and shares her experiences with today's children.
Right, Adel, what would you like to know?
How did you do your toast?
Oh, we used to have something like this, but it had a fork on the end. We used to put our toast on and hold it in front of the fire like that and get one side done, turn it round, put it on again and get the other side done, and that was your toast done. Right.
How did you make your drinks of tea?
Oh, well this is our kettle here. We used to swing it round on a swing here, and it used to, the fire here used to warm the kettle. Once the kettle was boiling, we get the teapot, pour the tea in, pour the water in, and that the tea was made.
With the things, wooden or glass?
Oh well, these, we used to rub our clothes on these to get them dry. And you could have metal ones, or you could have glass ones. We always had glass in our house.
How did you used to get your clothes dry?
Well, this here is a maiden. I don't know if any of you still have them in your houses today, but we used to put our clothes over the maiden, and then we used to put it round the fire like that and dry your clothes.
How did you iron in the old days?
Well, this here, can I move? This here, we used to be able to fold it all down, and this became a table. We used to put a cloth over there, and this is the old iron here. We used to warm this on the fire, spit on it, and then do our ironing. But this was your ironing board there. Okay. Right.
Who cleaned that, and what did you clean it with?
Well, all the children used to clean it when it had gone cold, and we used to clean it with black leading. A brush and a little old brush and black leading, and that's why we used to have it all sparkling clean. And there used to be silver. This was all silver here, and that used to have to be shone as well. It was lovely when it was done. Another one.
Yeah. How did you make your soup? Or didn't you have none?
Oh yeah, we used to have a lot of soup because we didn't have as much meat or any convenience foods that you all have now. In in the supermarkets, what you get, we never had nothing like that. So we used to have a big pan like that and put bones in it and split peas and things like that, throw it all in and just boil it up on the fire.
Did you have rations in them days?
Oh yes,
books?
Ration. Oh yes, yeah. We had a ration book, yeah. And we had to have a ration book to go and get sweets. And we could only have 2 ounces of sweets a day.
That's what Mrs. Sumner told us.
Yeah, we could only have 2 ounces of sweets. A week, a week, not a day.
Did you used to bake your own bread?
Yes, we did, and we used to do it in I think it was the bottom oven there, because that was the hottest. Yeah.
Were the biscuits in packets like now, or in tins like
They were in tins like this one here, but we never had no chocolate biscuits or anything like that. It was just plain biscuits.
Like rich tea?
Yeah, that's it. Well, they were well rich tea then. They were just like that, yeah. Okay.
What was the scene before?
This was the sewing machine where we used to make all our own clothes. Everybody used to have a sewing machine in their house because you couldn't go out and buy clothes like you can today. So we used to have to make all our own clothes. Okay.
What did you used to have to drink? Just water?
Yes, water or milk.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
Did you knit your clothes?
Yes, we did a lot of knitting, yeah. It was all knit, yeah.
Where did you have that?
And this is rolling over. And this is the one, an old tin bath like that. We used to boil the kettle, pour it into the bath, another kettle, another pan, and we all used to use the same water. Yeah.
Could you get
But definitely not 2 in 1 week. Okay.
Cold water?
Yeah.
No, you got your cold water out the tap or the outside. We used to have a tap outside, and that's where you get your water from. There was no taps inside the houses. Right there.
How did you get? Did you do you know, for all your meat and stuff like that? Did you used to? You never had no freezers, nothing like that.
No.
Did you used to have a room that had no light and it was very cold?
Yeah, we used to have pantries, but we didn't have much meat. We had a lot of eggs. Meat we only had about once a week. We had the meat.
Right. How did you get the fire starting so well on there?
Oh well, your dads used to do that in the morning when they got up to go to work, and it used to be firewood. You know, they chop the firewood and put it on with paper, and then coal on top and start the fires. It used to be lovely and warm. You could warm, and this one here, we used to put a brick in there, wrap it in a sheet before we went to bed, and then take it up to bed with us, and it used to get our feet lovely and warm in bed because it was that cold at night, like a hot water bottle. Yeah, bricks, and wrap them up. Or you could take the shelf out and wrap the shelf up in a pillow case and take that to bed with you, and it kept your feet warm.
We've now come to talk to Walter Wood.
Can you tell us what the brass band scene was like and which bands you played with?
Well, originally I started with the Salvation Army on the Prescott. And then when I was 18 I joined the Prescott Palace Church Band until the war broke out, and then they broke up then because most of the band went into services, like, and I was working at the B.I.C.C, so I just played with those all through the war because I was in a reserved occupation. And then when the Cables band started, I remained with them till they broke up in '64, and then came back to the Prescott Palace Church Band. And I've been with them ever since. Of course, it's a Prescott band now instead of the church band.
Tell me what you found when you was on holiday.
Well, I was in Tenerife on my holidays, and they had a cabaret in the hotel at night time, and a couple that ran it had this little gimmick of having a little band, you know, with a trombone, trumpet and bass and whatnot, and drums. And later on in the evening, a friend of mine that I was with, he said, "Have you seen that drum?" No. Previously I'd told him I played in the band, like, and I said, "No." He said, "Go and have a look at it." And that's what I found, Prescott Cable band drum, which I used to all around Prescott during the 50s.
I believe you keep your hand in as far as music is concerned, don't you, Walter?
Oh yes, we have a little band with Fred Mathias down at Citadel, St Helens. We're doing a concert for the in aid of the miners' statues what they're putting up for the miners.
I believe you're doing a new piece of music tomorrow night, aren't you, Walter, dedicated to the Prescott Big Band?
That's so, yes. But what they used to play in the 30s, the 40s, 50s.
Thanks for talking to us, and best of luck with the concert tomorrow night.
Pleasure to do it.
made very welcome by the hosts Neil and Sandra for an evening of memories, nostalgia, recollections and amusing anecdotes. Prescott has produced many notable characters. Tonight we're going to have the pleasure and the privilege of meeting a few of them. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Roland Beasley.
Yeah.
Now, hello Roland.
Hello.
As one of the old characters of Prescott, would you like to tell me something about your days as a boy?
As a boy? Well, I was born in Station Road, and then in 1934 I moved up to Marketplace over the shop.
You've seen a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in trouble?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about it?
No, thank you.
No? As a boy?
As a boy, yeah. Well, mostly like pinching apples and things like that.
Pinching apples, that's a serious crime. Anything on the shopping trends in Prescott?
Well, it's all gone now, the original shops from Church Street right through the top end of Exton Street.
Now, isn't it true that you had a shop in Prescott?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Well, it was local Bert Ray's ironmongers, and then when he had a stroke and retired, my mum took it over. And we run it till 1958. Well, I run it till 1958 after my mum died.
When did the shop cease to trade?
About 58.
1958. Always in the hardware?
Always in the hardware.
Now, didn't you have some cats?
Yeah.
How many cats did you have?
Well, I had 4.
4 cats in the shop?
Yeah.
Sure it wasn't a pet shop?
No. What we to keep the mice down, really. Big old buildings with a lot of mice.
But surely you were selling mouse traps?
Yeah, that didn't. That was for the other people. That was for my benefit.
But you had the best mouse traps?
Yeah.
What were the names of the cats? Can you remember?
Mickey. What? And you're going back a bit.
These are old cats.
Old cats. They are old cats. No, they should have came after. Got the first 2 named now. And then there was Bruce and Sheila, and now I've still got the little ginger one.
Right. Now, is it true that you made a lot of money with your shop?
Oh!
What was one of the best-selling lines you had?
Well, coal.
Coal.
Yeah, bags of coal.
There was a lot of coal around Prescott.
Yeah, but we still. My mum said when he came, the first fella came, he said, "This is a mining town. We never sell coal in Prescott. There's mines here." He said, "Just try half a dozen of them." In 2 or 3 days, we were ringing up more, and I used to get about 300 of coke and 300 of coal a time.
How much was the coal in them days?
Oh, about 36 pence, something like that.
36 pence a bag?
Bag.
Oh, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, just a few years now.
Can you think of any other products that you sold?
Paraffin.
Paraffin.
Salts, powders, paste, bleaches.
A real chandler's shop.
Yeah, sold everything. It's anything to the the sink.
Right. We open all 7 days?
No, 6.
6 full days?
6 full days. Oh, Thursday, sometimes we used to close on a Thursday. We had to go out to warehouses.
Tell us a secret. Who was your worst customer?
Well, I won't mention her.
Don't mention her by name.
No. But she used to come in there, and if you didn't watch her, she'd walk something off.
Oh, dear me.
Well, I got a few of them if you didn't watch them.
Would you, in closing, Roland, would you tell us a little bit about your schoolboy days?
Well, I started off at the church school in Beaconsfield Street. Then I went to the board school, and then Central School.
So really, you were a very good school attender.
Yeah, when I was there.
When he was there.
When I was there, not so often. Not so often. I was alright at the church school, but when I went to the board school, I was more often on.
More often on?
Yeah.
So you
and old Daddy Barney used to give me the cane.
Right, yeah, that's you down. Okay, thank you, Roland, for those memories.
Yeah, not that.
I'd now like to introduce you to John Neild, professionally known as Robert Neild, a notable character actor of stage, screen, radio and television, and one of the notable characters in Prescott. Now, hello, John. You're described as a Dickensian character actor in some of your portfolios.
Yes, that is correct.
How long have you been a performing artist?
More than 40 years.
More than 40 years.
Yes.
In that time, you've appeared in a number of what we call soap operas.
Yes, yes.
Would you like to tell?
I've appeared in Emmerdale. I've appeared in Coronation Street. I've appeared in Brookside. I've been in Hindle Wakes, Sherlock Holmes, Family War, The Caesars, The Villains, Guy de Maupassant, and many more.
And many more indeed.
Many more, yes.
A notable list. Now that you've whetted our appetites with your theatrical experiences and previous roles, I'd now like to call upon you to do a couple of sketches for us. I believe the first one you're going to do is
The Demon King. I want you to imagine the forest where in Babes in the Wood the two babes get lost and darkness falls and they go to sleep on this grassy mound, and this is where the demon comes in to put his wicked spell on them. The babes! Blow Satan's gale, that ruin and destruction bring. Coral beasts, whilst night owls flap their loathsome wings, whilst withered branches groaning in the breeze make darkness darker midst these haunted trees. These babes are in my power, and with a relentless hate, dread be their doom, and pitiless their fate. May all their lives be charged with sorrow grim, till hair grows white, and laughing eyes grow dim. Lie still, my babes, sleep long, sleep sound. No help can reach you here. You'll be found.
Gentleman has wrote a song about you. There it is there, and he's going to sing it to you now. You'd like to listen to how it goes?
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Will I have the privilege of this being hung in the parlour?
You certainly will. Yes.
Thank you. Well, I've had a few tales told about me in the past,
Well, now you've got
but never a song.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about the coffee. Okay, and Stan's going to sing the song for you.
Take a bow. Have a bit of quiet now. Now listen to me, people. I've got a number of things to say about a man from up the Alps who's done some good along the way. Rewarded 3-time mayor, Wilson's 8 and Henry Freeman 2. But the biggest reward he ever got was being upstairs to me and you. Peter Kelly, Peter Kelly, he never stood around not on your Nelly. It's only a joke, Pete, like a mandolin playing. But certainly, Pete, you play the way to sing, sing. He's seen both good and bad times in Prescott, that's for sure. At leaving school at 14, for health, the war and more. But with a splendid woman named Hilda at his side, it was easy to conquer all in him and a lot to buy. Thought to get Peter Kelly, Peter Kelly, never stood around not on your Nelly. It's only a joke, like a man they're playing. Steadily pick your places, we do sing, sing, sing. He drinks a cup of common sense each and every day. He wants you to follow suit, and dividends it will pay. Better a poor man's leader than a rich man's lord. This is his philosophy, we all should take it on board. Peter Kelly, Peter Kelly, never stood around not on your Nelly. It's only a joke, like a mandolin playing. Say, pick your places, we do sing, sing, sing. He's out seeing all the trams and the trolley buses. The Limehouse is closed and the parish rooms have fell. The old town hall tinlings collecting all money too. But the biggest being to me and you. Peter Kelly, Peter Kelly, never stood around not on your Nelly. It's only a joke, like mandolin playing. Stanley beat your praises, we do sing, sing, sing. Stanley beat your praises, we do sing, sing, sing.
I noticed you sang during that that my philosophy was rather a poor man's leader than a rich man's lord. But after this, and seeing as this gathering tonight, and the way the people of Prescott have treated me over the many, many years, it's 63 years since I first lined up in politics, who would want to be a rich man's lord? I prefer to be a man of the people and spend the whole of my life down here at grassroots. And thank you very much indeed. So this will move now in the most power.
Something else we can throw down.
I would like to add a rider, but I don't know whether to be pleased or whether to sue the person who composed it. Because in the chorus it tells you that my mandolin playing's a joke.
And where's your mandolin?
You want to bring it? It's too fine.
Have you brought that? Have you brought it with you?
No, next engagement's St. Patrick's night.
Oh, you should have brought it with you.
Birthdays and St. Patrick's night.
He played you there.
I wonder now, can you focus your mind on Ralph Yates's Fox?
Oh, Wilf Yates.
Wilf Yates.
Oh, you're talking about an old Prescott character there. Oh, Wilf. He was, I think he was about 80 odd when he died, wasn't he? But something like that. And eventually some farmer, I think it was in 1961, maybe 62, a farmer from Rainhill come up to Wilf's house. Wilf lived in Latham's Close in Prescott. And the farmer come up, he said, I want you to come down. He said, I've shot a vixen fox on my premises. It's under some old farm machinery. He said, but it's got two young ones. And one of them is in a bad way. I want you to get them out. And so what you can do for the other one, he said, the other one's alive. Anyway, Wilf got it out. The other one was in such a bad way, the young one. The mother was dead. The young female, that was dying. Wilf had to finish that off in a nice way. But the other one, he felt sorry for it, and he literally brought that up as a pet. Now, Wilf Yates lived in Latham's Close, and for many years after, that pet, he used to take it out for walks and that. The local kids in the close used to take it down on a lead, thinking it was a dog. He literally brought it up as a dog. Yeah. Now I used to drink with old Wilf and his sons and his daughters, and I know for a fact that Wilf used to take that little Freddy, he called it, a bottle of Guinness home every night, and he used to drink it. He used to keep it in the bath, yeah, and that's the gospel truth. And that fox lived a natural life as a dog in Latham's Close. Everybody used to take it for walks. There was a lady, I can't remember her name, they used to be the proprietors of what we call the Long Pull in Prescott. In fact, it's the Victoria Hotel. And that was in the early 60s. And as regards this Freddy the Fox, the landlady used to keep 2 little poodles. And Wilf happened to walk in one Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock, opening time. They looked over the bar, and Wilf sees these 2 little poodles. He said, I've got a little fox at home. He said, I'll kill them. She said, yes, didn't you? You put your money on the bar if you think I haven't. There wasn't only her putting money on the bar, there was everybody else that come in the pub, because they never believed that Wilf had this fox. But as it was, young Wilf's lad come in, and Wilf sent his lad home. He said, go and get Freddy. He said, what for, Dad? He said, go and get Freddy, I want it. So his lad went home, and next minute the fox appeared and just plonked on the bar. Everybody in the pub was shocked, they'd all lost the money. Wilf cleaned up, and plus little Freddy drank half a bottle of Guinness. And that was the end of that. Wilf cleaned up again. Yes.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Brid Lunt, who's going to tell us a couple of stories of the more famous characters of Prescott. One story that Brid's going to tell us is the legend of Jimmy Ralphs.
Oh yes, I remember Jimmy very well, yeah. I was only a boy during the war, and Jimmy was in the forces, and he got his legs blown off at Monte Cassino in battle, amongst many other men, as I can mention, of Prescott, Harry Thomas, and few Doward and other people. There's many men killed up in Prescott, because there's a naval and forces area. There's quite a few men killed from up here anyway. But Jimmy, he was a very marvellous fella. And one little story, as he comes in the pub, like, you know, he's in the wheelchair. He's no legs on, obviously, like, you know, he'd had them blown off. And he comes in at winter time, and he says, where's fire? He put that fire on his head. I've no feeling in my legs. And he had no legs on, obviously. But he was a great guy, and he used to come in the Reform Club. He said, take the notice you're on. He said, I use it for shooting round corners.
He was a crack shot with a catapult.
Oh, he was a crack shot with everything. Catapult, bow and arrow.
Never missed.
Crossbow, the lot.
Barber, he used to use Barber.
And he was one of Prescott's characters.
Throw it up. Wonderful fella.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Brid Lunt, who's going to tell us a couple of stories of the more famous characters of Prescott. One story that Brid's going to tell us is the legend of Jimmy Ralphs.
Oh yes, I remember Jimmy very well, yeah. I was only a boy during the war, and Jimmy was in the forces, and he got his legs blown off at Monte Cassino in battle, amongst many other men, as I can mention, of Prescott, Harry Thomas, and few Doward and other people. There's many men killed up in Prescott, because there's a naval and forces area. There's quite a few men killed from up here anyway. But Jimmy, he was a very marvellous fella. And one little story, as he comes in the pub, like, you know, he's in the wheelchair. He's no legs on, obviously, like, you know, he'd had them blown off. And he comes in at winter time and he says, "Where's fire?" He put that fire and he said, "I've no feeling in my legs." And he had no legs on, obviously. But he was a great guy, and he used to come in the Reform Club a while after when he got his false legs on, and he was a great happy fella, even though what he'd gone through. Anyway, come back to, I'm carrying on now, come back to the end of the war, like, when they brought him back, and we had the victory over the Germans, and all Prescott people was all outside the town hall, just up over the road here, and they took Jimmy up in his wheelchair, and we were all celebrating, and Jimmy, he sung a couple of songs, and it was fantastic. One great man, one of the finest men in Prescott, believe me, and that's more or less all I can tell you about Jimmy, apart from the fact that we drank in the same pubs and that, and he was just a fine gentleman, a great guy. Have you anything to say on that, Sammy? Yeah.
He was the captain of the Imperial Darts team.
Yeah, well, carry on.
He throw his darts, and somebody retrieve his darts for him.
Yeah.
He just throw his darts, stand his legs and throw his darts, they'd retrieve his darts for him, Jimmy. Never give in. Never give in.
He wouldn't give in, no way.
Give it out.
Yeah.
You turned out for me.
He was a lot better when he got his false legs, and then he could start getting around without being in a wheelchair, you know.
What upset him, they went out in the pitch in his wheelchair, the war just finished. What upset him, they went in the pitch after. But they tell him it's safe to leave, like, you know, don't know.
He was a great guy though, a marvellous gentleman, yeah. After what he'd gone through.
Big fella, wasn't he? He came on the handcart when he died, that big man.
Yeah, when he died, like, they had to take him on a handcart.
Certainly seems a memorable character anyway.
Oh,
thank you for jogging our memories.
Yeah, marvellous fella, great.
Jimmy Rolfs.
From the land to the land, and down the mountainside, the summer's gone, and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you, must go, and I must cry. Lord, draw me round when summer's in the land, and when the valley is hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so.